that the Democrats are really in trouble because they continue to be disconnected from the electorate and they continue to support the 20 of the 80-20 issue.
Mhm.
Illegal immigration being one of them,
Crime,
which is the
culture
example
issues,
of
everything.
correct, of
Yep.
Garcia. And then the next one would be, which is a big talking point right now, is crime, specifically how Trump has, what is it that the Democrats keep calling it? Like the takeover, the federal takeover
Mm,
of DC. I'm like, well, it is a
yeah.
federal city.
Yeah.
Let's just point
So
that out.
within his right.
So let me give you a rundown on the situation for the Democrats. There are 30 states that keep track of voter registration by party. And of those 30 states, the Democrats have lost a total of 2 million voters since 2020 across 30 states, which is a net swing of plus 4.5 for the GOP, which is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Two states alone, okay? The state of Pennsylvania, which is a humongous swing state, is down 500,000 Democrat voter registrations,
It's
and
not good.
Nevada is down 150,000.
It's not
So
good.
the
That's not
trend
looking good.
of the country going to the right seems to continue. In addition to that, funding, they have a funding crisis. So they have the skinny arm dude, what is his name? Ken Martin. You know, the guy
Mm.
that cried on the phone with David
Yes.
Hogg. Do you
Mhm.
remember
Yes, yes. See, crying.
that?
Again, crying, singing. This is what they do.
There was like a call that leaked with David Hogg, and he was basically crying to David
It
Hogg about how
was
nobody knows who he is because of what David Hogg has done
it's
with the
embarrassing.
party. And then they
It's
ended up kicking
embarrassing.
him out. So the DNC has $15 million cash on hand. The RNC has $75 million cash on hand. Yeah. So they're having a fundraising issue. In addition to that, I heard today that they are still footing the bill and paying off Harris's campaign because Harris's campaign was in the
Well, they
hole.
left it in so much debt. It's
After
ridiculous.
raising $1 billion, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and then they'll also talk a lot about the approval rating. So Pew in August came out with the Democrats sitting at a 32% approval rating, while the GOP is at 45%. Now, a lot of people will say, like, well, Trump's at 37% or like 40% approval rating, which is true.
Yeah.
However, historically, he is at a better approval rating this time in the election cycle than Obama was during his second term.
Well, and the point is too is like this is Trump's last term. And so as long as the GOP's numbers stay up, we're left with the GOP, not with Trump. He's not running for a third term, guys. So it's like,
Even though
you
he
know,
has the hat at the gift
he
shop
does.
outside.
He does. And he has shown many people that hat. Like, look at my third term hat.
Every time he has some kind of leader,
I know.
he takes him to the gift shop and he's like, look, this hat says 4 more years. And I was like, oh my gosh, please stop. Stop. In addition to that, I thought this one was really funny. So there was a think tank, Third Way, that put a memo out. And the memo advised the DNC to ditch 45 elitist woke terms. So think woke terms like Latinx, birthing people, microaggression, oligarchy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because
Like
people
there was
hate
like
it. People hate it. Normal normies who norm every day. They're like, what's a
normal
birthing
normies to
person?
norm.
You mean a female that gives birth? A female? Like, no one, only like perpetually online people and like college students at Columbia and Brown and Harvard use any of these terms. Like, it's
Yeah.
just not a
I feel like
normal thing.
POCs, people of like all I
Nobody,
remember at the peak of this stuff in 2020, 2021, when I was still doing my food blog, and then like all of these companies all of a sudden wanted a Latinx creator
yeah,
to join their campaign, and I would get these pitches and they're like, join our Latinx and I'm like,
no, I will
shut
not.
up.
Yeah, I'm not going to. My very favorite moment that I feel like lives on in my brain of just the virtue signaling of how ridiculous the last 5 years were was when Kamala Harris, it had to have been, it was still during COVID. It must have been. I mean, even though COVID lasted for progressives for like 4 years, where she was sitting at a table, some round table meeting, and she was in a suit surrounded by, all women. All of it is very diverse table. All of them had masks on. And they had to go around and introduce themselves. Hello, my name is Kamala Harris.
I
I go by
remember
she, her
that
pronouns. I am wearing a blue suit with a
because they
pearl
did that for a
necklace.
while too. Mhm.
They did that, and then earlier on that day, there was land acknowledgments as to where they were, and
Oh, okay, so, Rachel,
it was.
speaking
I can't ever forget these moments ever.
you would think that with this new administration, these polling numbers, all this sort of thing, that the Democrats would have gotten the memo and they would get it clear and
No,
they would be
they
like,
don't.
"Let's not do this
They
anymore."
will not.
Well,
Nope.
that is not true because this is Ken Martin at the head of the DNC, and I think they're in Minneapolis right now for their summer meeting, for the DNC summer meeting, and this
Yes,
is how they decided to open the summer meeting. What a sigh, Rachel. Okay. We don't have to listen to this whole land acknowledgement, but that's how
the whole point with land acknowledgments that gets me every time is like, you don't care. You're not actually sincere. None of you are. None of you are. Because the whole purpose of a land acknowledgement is to acknowledge in their minds that the land that they live on was stolen and it was stolen from these people. But if you actually believe that, and if you actually cared, and if you actually wanted to do something about it, you would be working to give that land back to those people. But you're not. You're not going to do that because you don't care that much. You just don't. And you refuse to acknowledge that land acknowledgements are ridiculous because all land around the world has been stolen over and over and over and over. It's called conquest, and history books teach us about it. And so that's why the land acknowledgements, especially, I had the biggest problem with because it was like, what is the point? What is the point? Who stole it from those people before? I mean, they stole it from whom? And
I
then
mean,
before that, anyway.
it's a moment for them to say, "Look, we have to recognize that, we did this horrible, horrible
Well,
thing
yeah,
and that we're horrible
we have to recognize it until someone asks us what we're going to do about it, and then we're going to say nothing. We're just going to tell you about it. We're just going to make everybody feel collectively bad, but give no solution for how it actually should be solved. You want to know why? Because it can't be solved. Because this is how the world has worked since like zero,
forever.
like
Literally
forever.
forever. It even worked that way when it was the Native Americans that were,
Correct.
running
That's
all
why I'm
of
saying,
America.
yeah, they all need to be acknowledging who they stole it from before them, and then before that, and before that. Anyways, that's my tangent for the day. We need to be done
Well,
with land acknowledgements.